Okay, how should we start this? Okay, let's just be natural. I mean, this is the Charles Squared podcast. Charles Mason, and with me is Charles Iverson.
Hello.
We're just gonna be spitballing some ideas, about the Mandalorian. That's what this episode is gonna be about, right?
Yeah, I think
okay.
we'll cover the Mandalorian this episode. We'll probably cover it in future episodes.
So just for reference, the last episode that came out was episode 5, chapter 5.
Yeah, chapter 5, the Jedi.
The Jedi.
Oh, sorry, no, it was chapter 13, the Jedi.
The Jedi, episode 5. Season 2, episode 5.
Right, yeah.
Chapter 13, the Jedi.
These chapters get confusing.
Yes, they do. Where they introduced the Clone Wars character,
Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah, Ahsoka. So
yes.
She came in after, kind of leading up to this big reveal of her character. When did that start? When did the mention of it was
yeah,
2 episodes before?
Yeah, she was first teased in the third episode of season 2.
And that was when he had to raid the Imperial.
Right, so he finally found fellow Mandalorians in that episode.
Yeah.
One of them was Bo-Katan, who was another Clone Wars character.
Yeah.
And of course, anyone who watched the Clone Wars knows that in the last season, she kind of struck a friendship with Ahsoka. And so that's how she knew where Ahsoka would be.
Yeah. And, just hearing that name, you knew it was leading to Ahsoka Tano. You knew
right.
that. You knew that connection was going to be made. But I don't know if I'm straying from the point here, but I kind of just want to jump right into something that we actually didn't talk about yet, is the differences in Mandalorian classes.
Oh, yes, you're right.
I thought that was insane.
Yeah, that was...
It really shows the diversity that the Mandalorian, guild has across the...
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, that was a pretty big revelation. I mean, I know a lot of people who watched the Clone Wars or Rebels, including myself and maybe you, were a bit confused on why they weren't allowed to take off their helmets when in those shows they are allowed to. But I think it was pretty cool, though, because, a lot of people I saw pointed out online, it's kind of like in real life with different religions, how there are different denominations. So I kind of like that spin that they put on it, that, Mando, or Din Djarin as his real name is, he is simply practicing a stricter form of being a Mandalorian.
Yeah, I definitely connected that, especially with the religious theme. That is a great analogy. Mm-hmm. I was thinking, it was on the tip of my tongue, and I was like, that's what it was. That's the connection I made. But wow, talking about the history of the Mandalorian in that episode kind of opened up, a theme of what we might see in the future. After his mission is completed, where does he go from here? He seemed, I felt, conflicted when they were talking to him and explaining how he was one of the old the ancient way. He followed the ancient way. And I don't know why, but that kind of made me think, what if he leaves the guild he's in now and joins another one? Is that allowed? Do you think that should be allowed?
Honestly, I think that is where they're going with his character arc, because, it kind of seems like he is slowly evolving away from that already. As you see at the end of the episode, Bo-Katan says to him before he leaves, "This is the way," and he finally replies back to her, "This is the way," showing his acceptance of their way. Also, in the very next episode, you can see him sipping, I think it's tea. And
yes!
He slightly lifts up his helmet.
That was incredible.
I do not think Season 1 Mando would have done that.
The smallest adjustment of the helmet. We have never seen him eat before. I don't remember him eating anything.
Yeah, and he did eat in Season 1, but no one was around.
Yeah, nobody was around. But actually showing it, I think it also shows his the comfortableness he feels, the familiarity he feels around Grogu. Let's get
Yes.
into that. Oh, Grogu, what a name!
Yes, I mean, I was expecting we'd get a name for him at some point, but not as soon as the most recent episode.
Chapter 13. Wow. I mean, and the way that we found out about his name.
Yeah, Ahsoka just casually brings it up. Grogu is whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
Grogu feels strong with you. Who?
yeah, I was just
Okay.
I was
yeah,
okay.
Okay. Yeah. Oh my god.
It was almost as if like Mando could feel our own revelation watching it, because I remember after Ahsoka says that line, he's like, Grogu?
Oh my god. No, yeah. That was just interesting. But their relationship over the past 5 episodes, I guess you could say, is just crazy to me. How much it's
Yeah.
evolved.
Yeah, even since season 1, it's really evolved a lot into this father-son dynamic. I mean, you can maybe see it coming in season 1, but like, at the very end of season 1, the armorer says to him, you're a clan of 2 now. And I think at the beginning of the season, you can kind of see that where he says, wherever I go, he goes.
Yeah.
He's afraid to leave his, quote-unquote child behind.
Yeah. And then I think that is just confirmed when Ahsoka says, I can't train him.
Yeah.
Because
He's too attached to Mando.
He's too attached to Mando. That was, and that kind of like, that actually segues into the next point I wanted to bring up, which is what was the initial goal coming into the season, and how did it get to where it is now, and what is the goal now? I just want to let the viewers know, we're going to try to structure these as much as possible just to hit certain like pressure points, cover everything we want you guys to hear about, we want to talk about, and just, open up discussion. But I think this was one of the most important things that I personally wanted to cover, which was what was the goal then, what is it now, and what is it going to be?
Well, going into season 2, first of all, let's start with the end of season 1. The armorer tasks Mando with finding the child's people. And at the beginning of season 2, he's not doing that right away. First, he recognizes that he should probably find other Mandalorians first to help him. So that's the goal going into season 2.
Yeah.
Then he finds other Mandalorians, of course. Well, actually, first, he thinks he finds another Mandalorian. Turns out to be Cobb Vanth, who is just the Marshal of Mos Pelgo, wearing Mandalorian armor. Of course, the Creed says he has to get that armor back, so that takes a whole episode. Then, in the next episode, the Frog Lady says that she can take him to Mandalorians, and in the episode after that, they end up meeting there. Yeah, he meets them. He meets the other Mandalorians he was looking for. Then he can find the Jedi he needs, Ahsoka Tano, after Bo-Katan tells him where she is. Now he's found her.
Yeah, he's found her.
And she says she can't train him, so...
So I think Mando kind of changed, right? His initial goal was to get this kid to where he needed to be. She's a Jedi. She could have... she gave him the advice to stop training him and let the Force kind of die, like leave his system, right? Let the... Not the Force, but you know what I mean. Kind of stop training him, just let him be.
Well, yeah, she said she sensed much fear in him.
That's what it was.
And I think that really connects back to her relationship with her master during the Clone Wars, Anakin Skywalker. Yoda sensed much fear in him, and of course, that ended up leading him down a dark path. She doesn't want to see the same thing happen with Grogu.
Especially because she was just so close to Anakin.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, being his Padawan was just huge.
Yeah. And actually, something I just thought of now, Ahsoka and Anakin's relationship is kind of like in a way, it's kind of like a father-daughter relationship, mirroring Mando and Grogu's relationship.
I just thought of that too. When you started talking, I was like, this is the connection. This is
Yeah.
Clone Wars and The Mandalorian. They don't go hand in hand.
No,
but
they're
you
definitely separate.
understand so much watching the two.
Yeah, it goes back to the famous George Lucas quote. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's something along the lines of, Star Wars is like a poem, it rhymes. And even though these are really two separate shows that exist in the same universe, they really still do rhyme with each other.
They just fill the gaps of the other one.
Mm-hmm.
And when something isn't mentioned or something isn't explained, it's picked up in the other show.
Yeah, I mean, you can watch them separately and still enjoy them, but they just enhance each other.
That's a perfect description of their relationship. Moving on. Predictions. Do we want to get into predictions?
Yeah, let's get into predictions.
Okay. Oh, man, do you want to start? Or should I?
Okay.
You can start.
Yeah, sure, I'll start. First of all, I predict that in the next episode... Well, first of all, I want to get into something I initially predicted last week before the most recent episode. I predicted that Moff Gideon was going to end up tracking Mando to Corvus, which is the planet that Ahsoka was on, and then Moff Gideon and Ahsoka were going to have a lightsaber fight. That ended up not being the case, which I'm fine with. It still would have been really cool, though. However, I do think that in the next episode, Moff Gideon is going to end up tracking Mando to wherever he goes, and then they're going to have a conflict. I don't know where he's going to go. I'm guessing, based on how the series overall has played out, he's not going to make it to... I forget the name of the planet he's supposed to go to, but
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I don't think he's going to make it there in the next episode, just because this series tends to take its time. So I think that will be like a last two episodes thing. Like in the previous season, we saw the last two episodes kind of it was
it's
kind
like
of a two-part thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be something similar where like
the
end of the season is like that, where he makes it to the planet and then he has to do some adventure on there.
But this show, I think, episode 6 of this second season, so chapter 14, is going to set up for that double episode kind of vibe.
I think he might go back to Navarro, actually, for that, so that Cara Dune and Grief Karga will go along with him on the quest.
I hope that happens.
Yeah, just because it seems like they're setting up more, especially with Cara Dune in the future, so I think she'll definitely be involved in the next 3 episodes in some way.
The whole dynamic of this show seems to be, here's the mission, oh no, we got sidetracked, but look how much we learned.
Yeah, in these side quests, they seem kind of like pointless at first.
Like fillers, but there's so much.
You really do gain stuff from
And
it.
I think that episode 6, chapter 14 is just going to bring so much to the table coming into the last stretch of the season. And all I want to see, my prediction, and, what I hope that the directors and the writers included, is Grogu having to choose between light and dark.
Absolutely.
I think that was so important. In the whole, exploring Rey in the, would you call it like a sequel trilogy? A sequel trilogy.
Yeah, the sequel trilogy.
That's my bad. Why was I thinking? It's the order of the movies gets me messed up. Anyways, Rey, I don't want to call her Palpatine. Rey Skywalker. That's right there. Rey Skywalker. Yeah, that's a statement. I just made a statement.
Well, I think that's what Disney's officially calling her.
Yeah,
so.
okay. I just think that Rey having to choose between the light and the dark was something, especially because Rey's this is pre-Rey. This is pre everything. that Grogu, even though this is coming out after, is going to kind of set the tone for the new age Jedi. You know what I mean? For those who want to become Jedi, they seem to return to old Jedi temples, train, and they have to make a choice. Kylo Ren made a choice. Ben Kenobi, he made the choice. He chose the dark side.
Yeah.
Rey chose the light side. Grogu is put in, we don't know what kind of situation he's put in, but I hope that he's put into that situation.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he will be, because Ahsoka definitely said in the last episode he needed to choose his path.
Yeah.
And, he appears to just be a baby, but he's 50 years old, so I think he definitely has some intelligence. And I can't wait to see what he chooses. Part of me is really hoping that they subvert our expectations and he chooses the path of the dark.
I really want to see that too. I kind of want to see what happens between him and Mando after, after they figure out whether he's light or dark. I want to see
what
happens.
Yeah. So, in season 1, there was a moment when he force choked Cara Dune. And at the time, I was thinking, oh my gosh, that's horrible. But he's just a baby or a toddler. He doesn't know what he's doing. Now we know he apparently has had some Jedi training at the temple. And his memory doesn't go dark until after that, according to Ahsoka. So, obviously, he still retains that training. He knew what he was doing when he force-choked Cara Dune. I think it is entirely possible he could choose the path of the dark. And I think if that happens, it would be really interesting to see where the show goes from there.
Oh my god, just setting up for an exciting season 3. And I'm just realizing, we just skipped over a huge section. We can still cover it. The research lab found in chapter 12.
Yes.
Was just, to me, it was mind-blowing.
That was an unexpected turn for that episode.
Trying to take Grogu's blood, maybe manipulate the midichlorians found in the blood.
Right.
And create a generation of Empire Jedis, of Sith, a new generation.
Right. They're obviously trying to create some sort of genetically enhanced Force beings. Something that was a bit confusing to me, though, is they mention, I think, a volunteer that I think they're using his blood on, but then they also had clearly genetically created forms in those giant test tubes. Yeah. So I feel like there might be kind of 2 experiments going on with his blood. One where they're trying to make an already existing person into a Force-sensitive being, and one where they're trying to create their own Force-sensitive being. I predict the one that they're trying to create is going to end up being Snoke, especially because one of the forms kind of looks like Snoke, and that would connect really well to the sequel trilogy, because as it turns out, Palpatine and his people created Snoke to run the First Order while he was incapacitated.
You just blew my mind. I was about to say, oh, well, yeah, clearly, nothing comes out of it, no Force-sensitive being can be created. Wrong!
But Snoke was created.
Oh my god! Wow! I'm just gonna let that sit with the viewers for a second. Snoke was genetically engineered by Palpatine. Palpatine's alive. We know that.
Right.
What if Moff Gideon is working for Palpatine right now?
I think he has to be.
Oh my god, he has to be.
I mean,
I can't see any other way. Who would he be working for at this time to set up for something that they don't know is going to happen in the future? He's making Snoke for a reason.
Yeah.
Is Ben Kenobi born yet?
Ben Solo?
I'm an idiot. Did I just call him Ben Kenobi?
I think you called him Ben Kenobi earlier.
I called him Ben Kenobi earlier.
Ben Solo.
Oh my god. I'm so sorry, everybody. Ben Solo. Is he born yet?
Let's see.
Because this is after they've won.
Right.
The New Republic's won.
He probably has been born yet.
Because they got divorced later after he turned dark. Never mind.
I don't know if they were ever married. I don't know. that's
different.
irrelevant.
No, that's a different part. That's for a different time. Yeah, but wow, I think that's gonna be the idea of the day. Connecting.
Well, okay, actually, hold on. Can I stop you right there? Because I just thought of something else that might be going on.
I'm heating up. Let's go. Let's hear it.
So, because there might be potentially two experiments, one where they're trying to create a being, one where they're injecting the blood into a pre-existing being, what if the already existing being is like the clone of Palpatine that we see in The Rise of Skywalker, but the clone isn't Force-sensitive already? So they need to inject it with Force-sensitive blood.
So you're saying that the Palpatine we saw in The Rise of Skywalker became more Force-sensitive or wasn't Force-sensitive at all?
So I'm saying he wasn't Force-sensitive at all.
After he was thrown.
Okay, so...
Let's track from there.
Okay, so... I'm pretty sure it's confirmed... So in the Rise of Skywalker movie, they allude to the fact that the Palpatine in that movie may be a clone, because there's probably no way he could have actually survived that fall.
Yeah,
but like, it still is Palpatine, just in a cloned version of his body.
Okay.
So it's like, it is the actual Palpatine in a cloned version of the body. And then I think that's confirmed in the novelization, although I have not read it. So what I'm saying is when they cloned him, maybe he wasn't Force-sensitive, so they had to inject him with Force-sensitive blood.
Yeah, I mean, if you fall down a hole like that, most people don't survive.
Yeah. But
wow.
The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
And I think that is a perfect way to end this session. I think we just... That was just awesome. I didn't even think about that. My mind is still blown, so if you want to close it out, I don't even...
Alright, well, I guess we're going to leave you guys here with a mind-blown Charlie Mason and me, Charles Iverson.
So, thank you guys for coming to what we think we're going to start calling Charles Squared, where we're going to be unraveling, diving into, and hopefully predicting and explaining, leading to further discussion about, right now, the Star Wars universe. But we hope more topics soon.
Yeah, we might expand into Marvel stuff.
We're thinking, this is just a little heads up. Spider-Man 3 is looking good. I don't want to get into it now.
That's going to be a topic
That's
we'll
definitely
discuss.
That's going to be a whole new
sometime.
podcast. Thank you guys if you stuck out with us this far. If you stayed with us the whole time, we appreciate you guys. Thank you. See ya.
Bye.